Kate Middleton used to be known as the Serene One, the mediator, the royal diplomat with the flawless smile, unending patience, and the extraordinary capacity to endure awkward family dinners without hurling a bread roll across the table. In contrast to the rest of the monarchy, which at times looked like a reality TV show shot inside a jewellery vault, Catherine, Princess of Wales, maintained her composure, elegance, and near-impossible restraint. However, there was one royal line that she refused to cross, and that line was named Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, according to explosive new revelations emerging from palace circles. Because, according to sources, Catherine made her position quite apparent behind the polished public appearances and meticulously planned balcony waves, Prince Andrew was apparently not even welcome in her chats, let alone around her initiatives or her image. Clearly not quietly nor subtly. To be honest, if these claims are accurate, they might provide additional insight into the future. Queen, more than any TRF photo could, just a little favor before we go ahead. Click the subscribe button and enable notifications if you are enjoying this in-depth exploration of the royal realm. The majority of viewers have not yet subscribed, which really aids in the channel's expansion. If you have already, thank you. All right, let's return to the drama at the palace. Let's begin with the moment that, according to royal insiders, changed everything. Andrew had already been the monarchy's constant thundercloud for years. There was an unseen tension at every royal occasion. Would he show up? Would he get caught on camera? In a matter of minutes, would controversy take the place of charitable activity in the headlines? Imagine organizing a lovely garden party, only to have one guest show up and everyone forget the flowers are there. Insiders claim that this turned into the Andrew issue. It seemed that Catherine had reached her breaking point. In his biography Kate, The Courage, Grace and Power of the Woman Who Will Be Queen, royal author Christopher Anderson asserts that the Princess of Wales had a firm stance in private over her public appearances. The book claims that Andrew was essentially barred from events associated with Catherine, such as her wildly popular Together at Christmas Carol service. Let's take a moment to remember that this isn't just any old village bake sale where you can sneak in through the side door while wearing sunglasses and acting like no one is looking. One of the year's most meticulously planned royal festivities is this one. There are cameras everywhere. Everywhere there is public feelings. While Britain as a whole tries not to cry into its mince pies, tiny choir children sing angelically. Aides even suggested that Andrew may go covertly, according to Anderson. Covertly, as if Prince Andrew sneaking inside Westminster Abbey would be like going on a ninja mission. It seems that Catherine's response was essentially no, not even in silence. Not even by a side door, not even if he was a forgotten extra in a historical drama sitting in the shadows. According to reports, that choice shocked court circles since it exposed an intriguing aspect of Catherine's expanding power. She is no longer just attending royal functions. She is in charge of the environment they are in, and that is very important. Because the Princess of Wales has had a remarkable metamorphosis within the monarchy over the past few years, the timid college graduate who used to shyly trail senior royals now strides around the building with serene authority. Royal observers have observed a shift in her behavior since her health battle and her return to public life. Now the smile has steel underneath it, not discipline, not coldness, nor haughtiness. The kind of discipline that monarchy will endure in the future. Insiders claim that Andrew was the reason behind the public emergence of that discipline behind the palace walls. Public appearances are not the end of the reports either. Anderson asserts that Catherine's even intimate family get-togethers were filled with frustration. According to the book, she made it painfully clear where she stood by refusing to interact socially with Andrew at holidays and royal gatherings. Now take a moment to picture the ambience of those spaces. While the future Queen of England is said to act as though one specific relative has turned into invisible furniture, one side of the family is attempting to have a regular discussion over tea and biscuits. Passive aggression is not what that is deliberate quiet. This is possibly the most fascinating detail. Andrew has never been publicly criticized by Catherine. Never once. She hasn't participated in any interviews. She hasn't given any dramatic speeches. She hasn't engaged in the media game. Rather, if these allegations are true, she employed the most ancient royal weapon, exclusion. Exclusion speaks louder than arguments in royal culture. Access, appearances, invites, sitting arrangements, balcony locations, and exposure are the foundation of the monarchy. Removing oneself discreetly from certain areas conveys a terrible message without uttering a single insult in public. Being left on red forever is the royal equivalent of this. What then is said to have driven Catherine to this stage? Anderson says the response is really personal. According to reports, the Princess of Wales informed friends that the harm Andrew's scandals were creating to the organisation her children would eventually inherit physically nauseated her. And there it is, everything is explained in that line. Because Catherine's perspective has expanded beyond that of a wife and daughter-in-law. She considers herself a future monarch's mother. Prince George's future burden includes every scandal associated with the monarchy. Every dispute turns into a stain that William and Catherine eventually have to remove. According to insiders, Catherine came to the decision that brutal transparency regarding the monarchy's current state was necessary to save its future. Things get particularly intriguing at this point, due to Anderson's assertion that Queen Camilla and Catherine were in total agreement on the Andrew problem. That alliance is intriguing. Royal analysts were fixated on the alleged conflict between Camilla and Catherine for years. Distinct historical periods, distinct public functions, and distinct generations. However, insiders say that when it came to Andrew, both women were equally horrified by the harm being done to the monarchy's prestige. They reportedly collaborated behind the scenes with Prince William to put pressure on King Charles to act more forcefully. Take a moment to consider the significance of that. The current queen, the future king, and the future queen are all moving in the same direction. That is no longer palace rumors, that is a hierarchy of power. It seems that King Charles paid attention. It was heartbreaking enough that Andrew had been stripped of his royal duties. However, as public criticism increased, the situation only got worse. Even his princely title eventually lost its practical use, and the once dominant duke grew more and more cut off from the organization that once shielded him. According to rumors today, he left Royal Lodge behind and now leads a drastically reduced life at Sandringham. There has never been a more striking contrast. Charles visits kings and presidents all across the world. The destiny of the monarchy is expertly portrayed by William and Catherine. Even though Anne is old enough to recall a time when telephones had cables, she puts in more effort than half the people put together. Andrew, however, lingers on the periphery of royal life like a ghost. Moreover, according to insiders, Catherine wants things to remain that way. This story is about more than just personal distaste, therefore let's talk about something crucial. It has to do with surviving. The current monarchy operates in a time when public confidence is brittle in a matter of minutes. Every royal controversy gains international attention. Every association is important. Every picture counts. Before the palace has even written a reply, any appearance might go viral on social media. More than most people, Catherine is aware of this. Recall that she was under constant scrutiny for years prior to her marriage to William. Every holiday was photographed, every dress was examined, and every expression was analyzed. Early on, she discovered that a monarchy's public image does not equate to conceit. Infrastructure is what it is. Additionally, palace sources claim that Andrew directly threatened that infrastructure. Earlier this year, further Epstein-related documents surfaced, prompting William and Catherine to make a rare public statement in which they expressed concern and concentrated focus on the victims. The Waleses seldom openly address contentious royal issues, which is why their action was noteworthy. The statement was measured, cautious, and controlled, but it was also illuminating. It was an indication that silence was no longer sufficient for William and Catherine. Snorts then followed the arrest, which apparently left palace insiders utterly shocked. Even senior royals were caught off guard by the development, according to Anderson. Additionally, William and Catherine remained mute in public after King Charles made an official statement. However, reports claim that their feelings stayed the same in private. In all honesty, you can see why from a strategic standpoint the foundation of William and Catherine's monarchy is stability, responsibility, emotional intelligence, and contemporary credibility. They are producing children who will inherit not only titles but also a media landscape that is perpetually linked and where public opinion is subject to sudden shifts. Andrew is more than just an awkward relative to them. He is a prime example of the kind of scandal that the future monarchy will never be able to endure. This explains why the public finds Catherine's reported deeds so compelling. Whether they support or oppose the monarchy, a growing number of people see Catherine as someone who is prepared to defend the institution from inside rather than unquestioningly stand up for every member of the family regardless of the repercussions. And since her return to the public eye, that impression has significantly improved. Life after her health issues. 10 years ago, royal critics' descriptions of her were substantially different. She is no longer portrayed as merely sophisticated or encouraging. She is being characterized as shrewd, disciplined, and subtly powerful. A lady discovering the true nature of power within the monarchy. And Andrew might have been the first significant instance of that power being used decisively in private. Palace authorities would never directly verify any of this, of course. Careful ambiguity is how Buckingham Palace endures. Denials are uncommon. Confirmations are less common. Usually, silence suffices. However, silence itself has the power to expose. Because Andrew continues to be conspicuously missing from the kinds of extremely prominent royal occasions that define public significance, despite persistent conjecture. And that's no coincidence, according to Anderson's reporting. In the meantime, Catherine keeps deliberately and gradually growing her job. Her work in public health, her early childhood campaign, and her growing self-assurance. Her body language at royal engagements has altered, as has her global presence alongside William. She now presents herself more as someone getting ready to govern the monarchy than as someone joining it. This change is crucial because royal families need more than just ceremonies to thrive. Symbolism is how they endure. And at the moment, Catherine represents stability and accountability, which the monarchy sorely needs. She is a symbol of perseverance without complacency, tradition without question. And if these claims are true, her attitude with Andrew might end up being one of the key indicators of how the upcoming royal era intends to function. Not with grandiose public conflict. Instead of emotional outbursts, set clear icy limits. Because it's not always the loudest statement made within a palace. It is the person who no longer gets invitations. I sincerely appreciate you viewing British Affairs today. If you liked this video, please remember to subscribe, share your opinions in the comments, and I'll see you at the next one.